Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am going to do a sort of review and explanation of Weight Watchers Purple Plan and how someone who is eating a whole foods plant-based diet can lose more weight by doing the Purple Plan. So Weight Watchers has 3 plans, and the one that I chose to do to get the last of my weight off is the Purple Plan. Each of these plans, the blue, green, and purple, all do have a list of what they call 0-point foods. And those are foods that they say you can eat freely and still lose weight. There's some question about that, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit. Many people have found that for them, some of the foods on the list are ones that they actually find themselves overeating. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what those foods are on each of the plans so that you might be sort of guarded when you choose plans as to which is going to be the best for you. So the Purple Plan, which is the one that I'm on that I'm going to talk about the most, is the one that has the most 0-point foods. It has over 300 0-point foods. Now there are animal-based foods in there, and I just literally blacked out all of those items so that I wouldn't even see them on the list on my paper that I printed out. So what's on that list that we can eat? Well, we can eat all non-starchy vegetables, all fruits, all legumes, including tofu, tempeh, edamame, and non-dairy unsweetened yogurt. In addition, you can have pretty much all of the starchy intact grains. So that would be things like oats, brown rice, quinoa, any kind of potato, barley, things like that. In addition, you can also have the bean pastas like, I don't know, maybe a chickpea pasta or red lentil pasta, as well as any of the whole grain pastas like whole wheat pasta, brown rice pasta, quinoa pasta, things like that. So when you hear me say that, and you hear me say that they're a 0-point food, you're probably thinking, there's a chance that if those are not moderated in some way, I could really overeat them. And that has been the case with people who have done the Purple Plan that really struggle with overdoing their starches to the point where not that they're bad for you, but that their caloric intake has gone beyond their weight loss number, the number that they can intake calorically to lose weight. All right, so I have notes. As you know, I always have notes, so I'm going to be looking down a little bit. You can find this 0-point list online. It's actually available on Weight Watchers even if you're not a member, so you can take a peek at that. So the people that have told me that they were not successful with the Purple Plan are people that said it was hard for them because Weight Watchers didn't give them a boundary as to how much pasta you can have or how many potatoes or whatever. And Weight Watchers basically says that most people don't overeat the foods on this 300 plus item list, 0-point list. But I think that's true if you're coming from an animal-based diet and you come to the whole foods side, like you've been eating, let's say, just regular white pastas and you're eating French fries and things like that. I think when you get to eating these whole foods, they maybe don't taste as good to you because you're coming from the standard American diet. And so no, you might not overeat them. But for people like us who are eating already whole foods plant-based, we already eat whole wheat pasta or we eat, a bean pasta or something like that. We have grown to love them, and it makes it hard to stick to a certain amount, enough to be full, but not too much to stall your weight loss. So this is a good point to jump in and tell you about the blue plan. I'm just going to really briefly tell you that in the blue and green plans, they don't have as many 0-point foods. And on the blue plan, one of the food groups that is not included in the 0 points are the starchy vegetables, so the starches and the pastas that I just talked about. So on all the plans, you get a 0-point list, and then you also get a daily choice points amount. For the purple plan, the minimum is 16 points, and that's what I get because I don't have as much to lose potentially as some other person who maybe is just starting their weight loss journey. So I get 16 points a day, but on the blue plan, they get more points. I'm not sure exactly how much any one person would get, but they would get more points, choice points, but then they would have to use those points to eat those starches or those pastas. And for some people, that's actually a good idea because it might then make them think, how much do I want to use for my pasta? Do I want to go ahead and do a 2-ounce serving, which is going to cost me X amount of points, and then do a lot more vegetables? Or do I want to do a little bit more pasta and use more points? So you're having to make choices all the time. And that's one of the things I really, really like about Weight Watchers, the plan as it is now, the plans as they are now, because you do really have to make choices. And isn't that what we have to do every day? We're having to make choices. But on the other hand, some of the choices you make are ones that are fun. Like occasionally you might want to go out to eat, but you're going to use your points to do that. So we're not asking somebody to be super, super, super strict and not get to eat anything yummy, but you probably wouldn't do that on a regular basis. Okay. I just feel like it's really easy to eat a whole plate of pasta with sauce on it and veggies and everything and not realize that meal could be about 700 calories. And if you add a little bit of whole foods, plant-based, vegan Parmesan on there, you've added more calories to it, and you just don't realize how much you're eating until you actually have some semblance of the caloric amount of those foods. And that's one of the problems with Weight Watchers, is that they don't tell you any calories at all. So you really don't have any idea how much. They'll say, we'll have this amount, like 2 ounces or 1 cup. But unless you really understand what the caloric amount of that is, you could actually be overeating your calories. And you'll find that out when you don't lose weight at the end of the week. So it's one of those things where either you look up the caloric intake of some of those things and kind of plan your meals around that initially, or you don't, and you just kind of see what happens by using the points. They say the point system works. I believe them. But for me, with starches and starches and pastas, I definitely like to moderate those and measure those. And that's primarily because I have diabetes that's being treated by my diet. And so I want to make sure that I'm eating the amount that keeps my blood sugars low and really nice. So that being said, if you're a person who really finds starchy foods, so the starchy whole plant foods, really, really compelling, and you feel like you could overeat them and overdo your calories for the day, then you just, since there's 0 point on the purple plan, you might want to be on the blue plan where you actually have to make choices on certain amounts. Okay, so another reason why I chose the purple plan is because I knew that I was going to get a lot of 0 point foods that I already eat, and a small amount of choice points to eat kind of those little goodies or things that I want to eat that maybe I'm going to have to pay for them by using my choice points. So I get 16 choice points a day. So what does that look like? 1 medjool date is 4 choice points. 1 tablespoon of vegan chocolate chips is 4 choice points. So if I choose one of those 2 things, then that's going to take up 25% of those choice points for the day. And there are other things like even great whole foods like nutritional yeast flakes and things like that. If you use soy sauce, that's going to count. Sugars or sweeteners of any sort. I realized right away that my iced coffee that I like to have in the morning with unsweetened oat creamer and some agave or maple syrup in it were costing me a lot of points. And so I realized that's not something I can have every day if I want to get the rest of this weight off. The main things that are high in choice points are going to be sweeteners, sugar, so liquid sweeteners and sugar, flour of any kind, even oat flour, oil, and even fats, whole plant fats like avocado and nuts and seeds and nut butters. So these are going to require you a pretty steep amount of choice points. So you're really going to have to consider your choices, which I like, because part of the reason that I've stayed the same weight for such a long time is that I'm not very strict about those things. I will have some every day and not really worry about it, but that is just enough calories to put me over where I can't lose weight. So I have to not necessarily never have them, but maybe have them in smaller amounts or less often. So I mentioned this before, on the Purple Plan, you also get a set of weekly points, and I get 27 weekly points. So I kind of decided when I started the plan that I was probably not going to use those weekly points at all, except for on some special occasions like Thanksgiving Day and maybe Christmas Day, because I'm really just looking at doing this through the end of the year at the moment. So anyway, you could use these for a splurge meal, or you could use them as little extras throughout the week, but I'm basically not using them. In fact, right now I think I have 36 points for the week, and I started with 27. Well, how did I get more? Every day, if you don't use all your points, up to 4 of those points can be rolled over. So if you get 16 points and you use 12 of your choice points and all the rest 0 points, then 4 of those will roll over. If you have 16 points in the day and you use 15, 1 will roll over, but they don't roll over more than 4 a day. So you could conceivably really rack up a lot of those weekly points to do a splurge meal. But at this point, my goal is to not really use those points on a regular basis. So after 1 week on the Weight Watchers Purple Plan, I lost 2 pounds. I felt hungry a couple of times, and when I did, I ate something off the 0 point list. In this case, I think both times I had grapes. So it's a huge list. You could have something off of that. You could have a small cup of rice or something like that to get you by until your next meal if you really needed it. But I think the reason that I did so well on it is that I already moderate my starches. So I was definitely not overeating those at all. And I was eating a lot of the whole plant foods. Like I had lots and lots of 0 points for non-starchy vegetables, fruits, legumes. I had tofu one meal. I had tempeh one meal. I had edamame in one of the meals, and I had beans on the rest of the meals. So really, it was a great week. I felt full. I felt happy. But as I started week 2, I realized I miss my whole foods plant-based desserts and some snacks and things like that I like to have at the end of a meal or occasionally at night or something like that. And so on the 0 point list, you can have air pop popcorn. So that was something I kind of forgot that I could have, and I could, and then maybe add a little bit of nutritional yeast flakes just for a point. That's something that it would be great to have. And it doesn't tell you how much to have, but I would say, probably 3 to 4 cups would be adequate to get you past your snacky stage. So that's what I'll probably do next time. One thing I found this past week is that I was always looking for ways to reduce my caloric density and use 0 point foods in my meals so that I would be full but not have to use a lot of points. So doing things like adding spiralized zucchini or adding in just a bunch of vegetables into a pasta salad or things like that are just great ways to use 0 point foods, feel full, and not have to use a lot of your choice points. Because when you only get 16, you really want to choose them for something that you love or absolutely want to have. Now, for a lot of people, they don't like to count calories. They don't like to track their food. And I'm definitely not one of those people. I really enjoy tracking. I don't mind looking things up to know what the calories are. I'm a retired teacher, and so I'm very orderly, and I like that kind of thing. So if you don't like tracking, I would ask you to think about this. how important is it for you to get your weight off? Because if you really don't know how much food you're taking in, it's going to be difficult to get that weight off. So even if you just track the foods, just the foods that aren't 0 points. So if you just put in there the things that aren't 0 points, it makes it way faster. So if I know that it's going to be a sugar, a flour, a fat, anything like that, or I can check it real quickly to see if it is, and then put it in if it has any points, and if it doesn't, if it's a 0 point food, just don't even put it in there. That would make it faster. Also, I do recommend for people with the starches and the pastas to look up the caloric amount that you want to eat. So if you want to eat 1.5 cups of rice, you need to know that that's over 300 calories so that you're not way overblowing your calories in that meal and not able to lose weight. That's not a lot of calories, by the way. So this is the Weight Watchers website, and this is my account, and I'm in here on my day today. And you'll see that I have 39 weekly remaining points. Like I said, I have some days where I don't use all my choice points, and those get dropped in to the weekly points, 4 of them maximum a day. And then I get 16 daily points, and I've used 10 of them today. So I have 6 remaining, and I may end up using a couple more of those. If I feel hungry, I might have something else that requires points, but it just depends. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. It tells me how many rollovers I have from yesterday, which were 3. And then I have my breakfast. So my breakfast was so far 1 choice point. So I had unsweetened frozen blueberries that were 0 points. I had a banana that was 0 points. And then I had the Plant Eaters oat sausages. I had 1 serving, which is 5 oat sausages, and that equals 1 choice point. So I want to show you why that was 1 choice point. So I'm going to come up here to my food, and I'm going to go to the oat sausages so you can see what they look like. So I actually entered in this recipe so I could see where I was going to be charged choice points. I call it charging, but so for the entire recipe, which is 8 servings, so it makes 40 of those sausage patties, 5 patties per serving. I was charged 1 choice point for 4 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce, which is a 1/4 cup, and a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast flakes. I didn't actually use Bob's Red Mill, but that's what I used because it was the only one that had a 1/4 cup measure. Sometimes you have to do that. And then for some reason, it charged me a point for a tablespoon of onion powder and 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. I think for those 2, anything over a teaspoon, they actually charge you a choice point because it's kind of almost like a flour. I don't know. I wouldn't charge it, but that's what they say. And then 3 points for a tablespoon of maple syrup. That is pretty steep, but that's going to go over 8 servings, so not a big deal. And then all the other things here were considered free, including the 1/2 cup of brown rice and the 3 cups of dried quick cooking oats that I used in this. So all in all, 1 serving is going to be 1 choice point. Really nice for a breakfast. All right, so back to my breakfast here, total of 1 point. I'm done with breakfast, so nothing's going to change there. Lunch, I made Drina Burton's picnic pasta salad, which, by the way, I also put in here, but I want to show it to you because I actually put it in here under, let's see if I can find it. Well, I want to show you the Parmesan cheese first. So Parmesan cheese is this one made, I believe it was, I can't remember how many servings, but a tablespoon of this is going to cost 1 point. So I put in my Sari nutritional yeast, which is what I use because it actually had the correct amount in there. And then slivered blanch almonds are super high, but this makes like a ton of servings. So 1 tablespoon serving ended up that it would cost me 1 point. All right, let's go back to my food. I was going to look in recipes. So I created a bunch of recipes for some of the things I make often. And Drina's picnic pasta salad, I just got lazy. So let me show you what I did. Most of the salad are just non-starchy vegetables. So I decided instead of putting all those in, I'm just going to put in the foods that I know for sure are going to count points, which were the Kalamata olives, 12 Kalamata olives is 5 points. 6 teaspoons of maple syrup was 6, and a half a tablespoon of tahini is 2. This made 4 servings, so each serving is going to be 3 points. So I made enough for my husband and myself for 2 days. And so that's actually not too bad because the pasta didn't count, the vegetables didn't count. And the dressing, a lot of the ingredients in the dressing didn't count. The maple syrup and the tahini are part of the dressing. All right, let's go back. So now let me go back to my day. I also had the vegan Parmesan. I talked about that. Then yesterday I was at Kroger and I was starting my second week and feeling like I wanted a little something, I don't know, snacky, and I didn't feel like making anything. And so I bought these Back to Nature plant-based honey graham sticks. They're like 120 calories for a pouch, and they count for 4 points. I really haven't had any processed snacks like that last week, so it'll be curious to see if that affects my weight loss this week. But I went ahead and had a pouch of those yesterday because I'm not perfect. Okay, at dinner, I had this luscious jambalaya that Heather Goodwin made on her YouTube channel. It's called The Butterfly Effect, Plant-Based Weight Loss. And really, the entire thing was 0 points. And I can't remember why I'm charging myself a point for this, but this is how I did it. There was something in it, and I can't remember what it was that I thought was a point. I looked up some of the things. But everything was really, there was brown rice, a bunch of vegetables, a bunch of seasonings, I'm trying to think of when it was, but whatever it was, it counted as 1 point. So if you ever have something like that and you know what the one thing is and you just don't feel like looking it up, but you know that it's a point, you can go to Quick Add and you can write in the name of the thing you're eating and how many points it is. So you can do that, which is great. Also, when you're at the grocery store, your phone has a little scanner app, and that's how I scanned these Back to Nature honey graham sticks. Is when I was in the store, I was looking for something snacky, and I just scanned it, and that's what I got. I know this is not the best choice in the world, but occasionally I do like to have a snack. And generally, it's better for you to make them yourselves. And speaking of that, after I bought that, I noticed that they had some really delicious looking desserty kind of things that I could have made myself. So when you click over here, you get to see all the recipes that are in here, which I'm going to just quickly go through this. If you click up here at the top and you get to vegan, which by the way is pretty far over, I think I went too far. So you click on vegan, you can look at all the vegan recipes. And so I went to vegan, and then I'm going to do snack. No, actually, I think it was under breakfast. Let me go to breakfast. There was, let's get rid of that. Okay, there were these peanut butter banana chocolate chip cookies. Now, I could have made something like this, which would have been smarter, because I could have eaten 4 of these for 4 points, and they would have been way healthier for me. So these are some options of things that you can look up in the website and add to your plan. So I'm going to do those probably next week. All right, let's go back to my day. So the jambalaya is here. The reason I have some extra points is because I really haven't had very many things that were not whole foods plant-based. Actually, these were whole foods plant-based. Everything really was except for the sweeteners, and I guess the in the Drina's pasta salad, that one was the tahini that cost me, and the olives. But like the olives are whole foods. Tahini is mildly processed, and maple syrup is mildly processed. I wouldn't call that a highly processed food. So anyway, I'll probably have some fruit after dinner tonight because I've already finished lunch, and I might even have some popcorn because it doesn't count, and I'll just have it with a little bit of nutritional yeast flakes, and that'll cost me a point. I'll get 4 of these daily points rolled over, and I'll have 1 that I didn't even use. Okay, I wanted to add this in here because I went and got this box of snacks that I was talking about, the Back to Nature plant-based snacks. And this is one of those things that's so disturbing, but now people are using the term plant-based a lot, and it's not necessarily vegan. And so I consider myself a vegan, and occasionally I make mistakes in this sense. It did say honey grams, but it said plant-based. But when I just looked at this, it actually does have honey in it. And I normally do not purchase honey. So this is one of those things that I wouldn't normally do, and so I know I might get some shade in the comments about it, but we make mistakes sometimes. So in terms of dairy and stuff like that, I'm very, very careful in animal products that there's nothing in my food, just more than anything because I am an animal advocate and I am really caring about my health. So I just wanted you guys to know that I did recognize that this has honey in it, but we all need to be really careful about stuff that says plant-based. Anyway, if you guys are interested in me doing more videos about my progress on the Purple Plan, put it down in the comments below. If you have questions, if you're interested, any person who does Weight Watchers gets a link that you can share with friends so that they can get a free month and you also get a free month. So I'll put that in the description box below in case anybody wants to start. There have been several people from my Mrs. Plant community that have said, hey, I want to do this. And so they've done it. So if you want to do it along with us, that would be great. I'll try to make more videos, maybe do them one a week or something like that, just kind of updating you and telling you about my progress and things that I find are making me more successful or less successful. So anyway, if you're interested in me doing more videos about the Weight Watchers Purple Plan, then please let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.